Revelation is one of the most controversial and mysterious books in the Bible. What if the truth behind its enigmatic visions and symbols could reshape your understanding of faith? Revelation, with its strange and vivid imagery, has been a source of fascination and apprehension for centuries. This book, often shrouded in layers of symbols and metaphors, challenges its readers to look beyond the surface and delve into the deeper spiritual messages it contains. Imagine, for a moment, that the key to unlocking these mysteries lies not in fear or confusion, but in a profound revelation that enriches our faith and brings us closer to the divine truths. This journey through the hidden meanings of Revelation promises to be both illuminating and transformative. By exploring the historical context, theological concepts, and significant figures within its chapters, we aim to uncover insights that can enhance our spiritual understanding and provide a new perspective on this ancient text. As we embark on this study, let's remember the powerful words that open this remarkable book: the revelation from Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. Revelation chapter 1 verse 1. Stay with us until the end, where we will conclude with a thoughtful prayer designed to deepen your reflection and enrich your spiritual journey. One might begin our exploration of Revelation by turning the pages to that which symbolizes the soul's profound journey, those mysterious and yet illuminating segments that can quicken the heart with a sense of awe and wonder. The first of these sections is found in Revelation chapter 6, where the 7 seals unfold a grand narrative. The opening of each seal reveals a distinct vision, a fragment of the divine mystery. The 4 horsemen, each emerging with the breaking of the first 4 seals, ride forth as harbingers of conquest, war, famine, and death. These visions, imbued with potent imagery, serve as metaphors for the trials and tribulations that humanity faces. The 5th seal presents a vision of the souls of martyrs beneath the altar, crying out for justice and rest, a poignant reminder of the cost of faith and the promise of divine vindication. As the 6th seal is opened, cosmic disturbances, earthquakes, a sun turned black, a moon like blood, and stars falling to earth, invoke a vivid depiction of cataclysmic change, shaking both the heavens and the earth. The 7th seal, perhaps the most enigmatic, leads to silence in heaven, a silence pregnant with the anticipation of the divine decree about to unfold. Moving forward, the trumpet judgments in Revelation chapters 8 and 9 offer another sequence of profound and harrowing visions. With each trumpet blast, angels herald plagues of judgment upon the earth: hail and fire, a burning mountain cast into the sea, a star called wormwood poisoning the waters, darkness enveloping 1/3 of the day, and locusts from the abyss tormenting humanity. These judgments, reminiscent of the plagues of Egypt, serve as both retribution and a call to repentance. The symmetry and layering of these judgments amplify the gravity of divine justice and mercy, urging the reader to ponder the temporal and the eternal. The final trumpet, echoing through the heavens, signals the coming of God's kingdom and the final victory over evil. Lastly, we arrive at the vision of the New Jerusalem in Revelation chapter 21, a vision radiating hope and the ultimate triumph of divine love. This chapter unveils a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth have passed away. The holy city, the New Jerusalem, descends from God adorned as a bride, resplendent and filled with God's glory. Its gates, perpetually open, invite all nations to walk in the light of the Lamb. In this celestial city, there is no more death, mourning, crying, or pain, for the former things have passed away, and behold, all things have been made new. The river of the water of life, clear as crystal, flows from the throne of God and of the Lamb, watering the tree of life that bears 12 kinds of fruit. The nations are healed, and God's presence is eternally with his people. Each of these key texts, the seven seals, the trumpet judgments, and the vision of the New Jerusalem, offers a glimpse into the cosmic drama of salvation and judgment. They serve not just as prophetic warnings but as promises of hope and restoration, painting a portrait of God's ultimate plan for humanity and the world. This journey through Revelation is not merely an intellectual exercise but a spiritual pilgrimage, inviting readers to reflect on the mysteries of faith, the nature of divine justice, and the hope of eternal renewal. As C.S. Lewis himself might remind us, these passages are imbued with a deeper reality that transcends our earthly understanding, pointing to the deep magic from before the dawn of time, wherein lies the deepest truths of our existence. The book of Revelation outlines the ultimate triumph of good over evil and offers hope through prophecies of the end times. To understand this grand narrative, let us draw connections with other biblical stories that are woven into the fabric of Revelation. Imagine for a moment the apocalyptic visions of Daniel, standing centuries before John's revelation. Daniel, the prophet exiled in Babylon, was granted glimpses into epochs yet to unfold. He saw dominions rise and fall, beasts symbolizing empires, and divine justice executed with unwavering precision. His visions are steeped in deep symbolism, the very same symbolic language that John would later employ. When we open the pages of Revelation, we find a cosmos embroiled in a cosmic conflict. In one scene, John, the exiled apostle on the island of Patmos, sees a scroll sealed with 7 seals. No one in heaven or on earth could open this scroll, except for the Lamb, the triumphant Christ. As each seal is broken, the judgment and redemption of the world are progressively disclosed. The drama crescendos with the clash between celestial forces. We see the great dragon, the ancient serpent known as Satan, cast out of heaven and bound for 1,000 years. We witness the emergence of the beast and the false prophet, symbols of corrupt powers and false teachings, echoing the beasts portrayed in Daniel's visions. Revelation is not simply about cataclysms and cosmic battles. It is also a book of hope. Amidst the tribulations and trials stands the promise of the New Jerusalem, a city where God's presence illuminates all corners. This vision of the New Jerusalem parallels Daniel's anticipation of an everlasting dominion where righteousness reigns. Theologically, the storyline of Revelation speaks to God's ultimate sovereignty. Despite the tempestuous episodes and the rise of malevolent forces, the end is assured. The Lamb prevails, the faithful are vindicated, and creation is renewed. This interconnected narrative between Revelation and Daniel reminds us that these prophecies are not arbitrary. They are purposeful, revealing God's grand design for history. They reassure believers that, regardless of present sufferings or imminent trials, divine justice will be served and the triumph of good over evil will be actualized. In understanding Revelation as a culmination of biblical prophecy, believers unveil a hope that transcends temporal afflictions. They are reminded that the ultimate theater of human history is overseen by a just and omnipotent Creator, who will deliver His creation into an eternal state of peace and righteousness. Let this overview serve as an anchor for your faith, encouraging you that amidst life's vicissitudes, the divine promise holds true. Good will ultimately triumph over evil, and we are beckoned to witness and partake in this divine victory. Imagine with me, dear reader, the world at the close of the 1st century. The Roman Empire is at its zenith, a colossal power stretching from the windswept coasts of Britannia to the sun-drenched deserts of Egypt. But beneath the awe-inspiring grandeur of Rome lies a darker reality for the early Christian community. This was a time of turmoil and oppressive hardship, making the serene fields of faith feel more like battlegrounds than places of solace. It is during the reign of Emperor Domitian, around 95 AD, that we find the nascent Christian church in a crucible of testing. Domitian, with his insatiable appetite for control and veneration, declared himself Dominus et Deus, Lord and God. For the Christians, who held only Christ as Lord, this was not just a theological dispute but a matter of life and death. Refusal to bow to the emperor's divine pretensions often resulted in persecution. They faced confiscation of property, exclusion from trade, imprisonment, and even martyrdom in the amphitheaters, where they would be torn apart by wild beasts for the amusement of the jeering crowds. It is against this backdrop that the Book of Revelation was penned, likely by John the Apostle, as tradition holds, while he was in exile on the island of Patmos. The burgeoning Christian movement needed a beacon, a celestial light to guide them through the thick fog of their suffering. Revelation provided not mere comfort but a divine assurance that their struggles were not in vain and that the ultimate victory belonged to God. The enigmatic visions and symbols in Revelation spoke directly to the embattled hearts of these early Christians. The vivid imagery of cosmic battles, celestial beings, and divine judgments acted as a coded message, full of rich symbolism understood intimately by those familiar with Jewish and early Christian apocalyptic literature. These visions presented not just future events but an eternal truth: God is sovereign, and his kingdom is unshakable. The message was clear. Though the earthly powers may seem invincible, though the Roman legions may march with iron resolve, the true ruler of the cosmos was not Caesar, but Christ, the slain yet risen Lamb. Revelation calls to mind that eternal horizon where the martyr's blood would summon justice, and God's decisive conquest over evil would be manifest. When we read Revelation today, we must see it through the eyes of those first-century Christians for whom it was a manifesto of hope and resilience in their darkest hour. In that epoch of persecution, the Book of Revelation stood as an indomitable testament that God's redemptive plan was steadfast, offering a sanctified refuge amidst the tempests of tyranny. This historical context transforms our understanding of Revelation from a mere puzzle of obscure prophecies to a profound declaration of faith under fire. The promises enshrined within its pages were life-affirming proclamations that the Alpha and the Omega would triumph, and that the faithful, despite their present sufferings, were destined for a glory far beyond the reach of any earthly empire. One should tread carefully when approaching the revelation of St. John the Divine, for it is a book laden with symbols, visions, and figures whose meanings have perplexed and fascinated scholars, theologians, and the faithful for centuries. Among the notable personalities enshrined within its apocalyptic tapestry, none stands more prominent than its putative author, John the Apostle. Tradition holds that John, the beloved disciple of Jesus, penned this visionary work during his exile on the island of Patmos. The earliest Christian communities revered him not only for his proximity to Christ but also for his profound spiritual insights. Indeed, John is credited with other significant scriptural contributions, such as the Gospel and epistles that bear his name. In Revelation, he is depicted as the faithful witness to the divine revelations bestowed upon him, tasked with conveying their urgent and cryptic messages to the 7 churches of Asia Minor. Turning our gaze from the author to the kaleidoscope of characters inhabiting Revelation, we begin with the 4 horsemen. These fearsome harbingers of apocalyptic judgment appear in Revelation, chapter 6, as part of the series of visions revealed with the opening of the 7 seals. The first rider, mounted on a white horse, is often interpreted as a conqueror, though opinions vary on whether he represents Christ, a false prophet, or a more abstract concept such as conquest. The second rider, on a red horse, wields a great sword, symbolizing war and bloodshed. The third, astride a black horse, bears scales, an instrument associated with famine and economic disparity. The final horseman, seated on a pale horse, is named Death, with Hades following closely behind, embodying pestilence and mortality. These allegorical figures have inspired countless interpretations, suggesting they collectively represent the calamities that befall humanity in the wake of divine judgment. Another figure of immense complexity and menace is the beast, or more accurately, the beasts, for Revelation introduces two distinct entities with this moniker. The first beast emerges from the sea in Revelation, chapter 13, described as having 10 horns and 7 heads, blasphemous names upon its heads, and qualities reminiscent of a leopard, bear, and lion. This beast is typically understood as a symbol of oppressive political power or empire, endowed with authority by the dragon, an epitome of Satan. The second beast rises from the earth, characterized by 2 horns like a lamb and speech like a dragon, performing miraculous signs to deceive the inhabitants of the earth. This beast, often labeled the false prophet, serves the first beast's agenda, enforcing idolatrous worship and marking followers with the infamous number 666. Scholars have debated vigorously over the identity of these beasts, with historical interpretations frequently equating them to the Roman Empire and its emperors, while contemporary exegesis may relate them to future antichrists or oppressive regimes. Amidst these daunting visions stands a stark contrast in the figure of the woman clothed with the sun. Found in Revelation, chapter 12, this radiant woman, crowned with 12 stars, is a symbol replete with purity and cosmic significance. She is depicted as travailing in childbirth, delivering a male child destined to rule all nations with an iron scepter, a likely allusion to Christ. Yet, her story is fraught with peril, as the dragon seeks to devour her newborn. Despite this, she is divinely protected and nourished in the wilderness for a symbolic period. Interpretations of the woman vary, with some viewing her as the embodiment of Israel, the Church, or even Mary, the mother of Jesus. Regardless of the specific identification, she represents the faithful community and divine providence amidst eschatological tribulation. In these figures, the Apostle John, the 4 horsemen, the beast and the false prophet, and the woman clothed with the sun, we glimpse the rich tapestry of Revelation's symbology. They serve not merely as enigmatic images but as profound theological motifs that invite believers to a deeper contemplation of their faith and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. To encounter these figures is to embark on a journey through faith's deepest trials and highest hopes, navigating a narrative that eternally compels the soul to seek understanding and solace in the divine mystery. The Book of Revelation, my dear reader, is a tapestry richly woven with theological insights and eschatological themes that beckon us to ponder the ultimate destiny of humanity and the cosmos. At its heart, we discover an earnest anticipation for the second coming of Christ, a moment so monumental that it promises to reshape not merely the face of our world, but the very essence of eternity itself. The second coming, or parousia, as some theologians term it, is the pivotal event toward which all of Revelation's dramatic visions and symbols point. Picture, if you will, the ethereal vision described in Revelation chapter 19 verses 11 to 16, where Christ returns, no longer the suffering servant but a victorious warrior astride a white horse, his eyes aflame with righteous fire and his robe dipped in blood. Here he is named faithful and true, imminent and inevitable, bringing justice not as a distant hope, but as an assured reality. Yet, this majestic arrival heralds more than a singular event. It cascades into the final judgment, a theme that underscores the totality of Revelation's narrative. Revelation chapter 20 verses 11 to 15 depicts a scene as haunting as it is profound, with a great white throne and the one who sits upon it, from whose presence earth and sky flee. All of humanity stands before the throne, and books are opened, books that reveal the deeds of each soul. This is a moment of divine reckoning, where the ultimate justice of God is dispensed, leading us to confront the inescapable truth that our lives are lived under the scrutiny of the eternal. In the same breath, Revelation offers the promise of the millennial reign, a period of 1,000 years during which Christ rules with his saints. Revelation chapter 20 verses 4 to 6 speaks of thrones set in place and those who partake in the first resurrection reigning with Christ. This millennium is a time of unparalleled peace and righteousness, a foretaste of the new heavens and new earth that are to come. It is a period where Satan is bound, rendered powerless, and the kingdom of God makes manifest its long-awaited triumph over the forces of darkness. These eschatological themes, resplendent in their majesty and daunting in their implications, are not merely doctrines to be espoused but realities that call for a response. They draw us into a visionary landscape where the lines between the temporal and the eternal blur, demanding a transformation of how we live in the here and now. Revelation invites us to view history from the vantage point of its culmination, instilling within us a hope that transcends the transient woes of our present age. One cannot reflect upon these themes without sensing the profound weight of glory and responsibility that they convey. The second coming, the final judgment, and the millennial reign whisper to us of a love so fierce and a justice so pure that they are beyond our full comprehension. Yet, in embracing these truths, we are beckoned to live with an eager anticipation, a holy vigilance, and an unwavering faith in the ultimate victory of our Savior. And so, as we delve deeper into the rich theological soil of Revelation, let us hold fast to the hope it offers, allowing its vision to shape our hearts and minds, and calling us ever closer to the one who declares, "Behold, I am coming soon." Revelation chapter 22 verse 12. In the vast expanse of theological thought, the book of Revelation has inspired a multitude of interpretations, each shaped by the era, personality, and insights of the theologian who undertakes its study. Augustine of Hippo, a towering figure in early Christian theology, approached Revelation with a mindset deeply influenced by his emphasis on the city of God. Augustine saw the cryptic visions of Revelation not as literal forecasts of future events, but as symbolic representations of the perennial struggle between the city of God, the divine community of believers, and the city of man, the secular world. To Augustine, the millennium mentioned in Revelation was not a forthcoming thousand-year reign of Christ on earth, but rather signified the spiritual reign of Christ through his church, extending from his first coming to the end of history. This amillennial perspective placed the focus squarely on the spiritual and allegorical significance of the text, guiding believers to seek the divine truth beyond the literal words. Advancing to the Reformation, we confront the resolute figure of Martin Luther. Luther's encounter with Revelation was complex and colored by his own tumultuous times. Initially, he harbored deep suspicion of the book, viewing it as obscure and less central to the core message of the Scriptures. However, over time, his perspective evolved. Luther began to see in Revelation the affirmations of his own theological battles against what he perceived as the corruptions of the papacy and institutional church. The vivid portrayals of beasts and false prophets resonated with his critique of his contemporaneous ecclesiastical authorities. Thus, in Luther's hands, Revelation became a tool for reformation, a clarion call for the purging of what he saw as doctrinal impurities. Our journey to contemporary theology brings us to figures such as N.T. Wright, whose scholarship presents a nuanced and historically grounded approach to Revelation. Wright emphasizes the book's first-century context, urging readers to understand Revelation in light of the challenges and persecutions faced by early Christians under Roman rule. He contends that Revelation is not a roadmap of end-time events to come, but an apocalyptic critique of the imperial powers of its day, aimed at providing hope and encouragement to beleaguered Christians. Wright's perspective bridges the ancient and the modern, urging believers to see themes of justice, kingdom, and renewal as pertinent not only to the early church but also to contemporary society. Each theologian brings forward a mosaic of insights, demonstrating that the book of Revelation is not a static text with a single, definitive interpretation, but a living document that speaks anew to each generation. Whether through Augustine's allegorical lens, Luther's reformational fervor, or Wright's historical contextual emphasis, Revelation continues to challenge, inspire, and offer hope, reflecting the diverse yet unified quest for understanding within the Christian faith. One might, at first glance, wonder how the diverse and often bewildering imagery of Revelation could be decoded through traditional exegesis. Yet, such interpretations have flourished, espousing premillennial, postmillennial, and amillennial perspectives. Each of these views attempts, with earnest diligence, to unravel the divine tapestry woven by the Apostle John, and in doing so, they offer varied lenses through which to behold the cosmic battle's final act and its significance for the faithful. The premillennial interpretation stands as an unshaken sentinel in the doctrinal landscape. This view holds that Christ will return before a literal 1,000-year reign of peace and righteousness on earth. It extrapolates from texts such as Revelation chapter 20 verses 1 to 6, which speaks vividly of Satan being bound for a millennium. To the premillennialist, this period is not a metaphor but a tangible era when Christ will physically reign, bringing to fruition the prayers and hopes of his followers. Historical proponents like John Nelson Darby have championed this perspective, asserting that the present age will culminate in a climactic tribulation, followed by Christ's glorious second advent and subsequent millennial kingdom. In contrast, the postmillennial view captivates with a more optimistic lens, suggesting that the world will experience a profound spiritual revival and moral reform before Christ's return. Postmillennialists interpret the millennium as a figurative descriptor of an era where Christian ethics and the gospel will permeate society, leading to widespread peace and righteousness. Once this golden age reaches its zenith, Christ will return in final judgment and establish his eternal dominion. Prominent theologian Jonathan Edwards epitomized this hope, envisioning a dawn where the world itself, through the Church's influence, would mirror the eschatological vision of Revelation. Meanwhile, the amillennial interpretation navigates a different course, interpreting the millennium as a symbolic period representing the current church age. According to this view, the reign of Christ occurs in the hearts of believers, transcending temporal bounds. Augustine of Hippo, a towering figure in Christian thought, articulated this view, seeing the millennium as the era between Christ's first coming and his eventual return. This interpretation posits that the binding of Satan represents his limitations in deceiving the nations during this era, allowing the gospel to spread. The ultimate consummation awaits Christ's return, which brings both final judgment and the unveiling of the new heaven and new earth. Traditional exegesis provides a firm scaffold for these interpretations, aligning scriptural passages and prophetic visions into coherent frameworks. Each perspective, with its distinct emphasis, whether the imminent reign of Christ, the transformative power of the gospel in society, or the spiritual reign across the church age, offers valuable insights into the divine providence and human destiny etched in Revelation's apocalyptic visions. Thus, through the prism of premillennial, postmillennial, and amillennial thought, we glimpse diverse interpretations that enrich our understanding of the ultimate hope and triumph promised to the faithful. Before delving into the array of views that challenge traditional interpretations of the Book of Revelation, let us pose a thoughtful question. What if the familiar and entrenched beliefs surrounding these apocalyptic visions are not the only pathways to understanding? Imagine, for a moment, the delight of a treasure hunter who, expecting to find a single trove, unearths multiple chests, each filled with unique and wondrous gems. Such is the journey we'll embark on as we explore the preterist, futurist, and idealist approaches to Revelation. First, let us consider the preterist perspective. The term preterist is derived from the Latin word praeteritus, meaning past. This approach posits that the majority, if not all, of Revelation's prophecies have already been fulfilled in the first few centuries of the Christian era. It suggests that the book's enigmatic imagery and profound revelations were largely aimed at comforting and guiding the early Christians, who faced severe persecution under Roman rule. According to Preterists, the beast represents the Roman Empire, and the mark of the beast is a metaphor for the oppressive imperial regime. The fall of Babylon is viewed as symbolizing the collapse of Rome, and the prophecies about the end times were realized in the events leading up to and including the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. By anchoring these visions firmly in the historical context of the early church, preterists argued that Revelation is not a foretelling of distant cosmic events but rather a coded narrative that has already played out in earthly history. Contrast this with the futurist perspective, which swings the pendulum toward a yet-to-unfold timeline. Futurists hold that the bulk of Revelation's prophecies are still awaiting fulfillment, predicting events that will occur at the end of human history. They see the text as a roadmap to future tribulation, a cataclysmic period preceding the ultimate establishment of God's kingdom. Within this framework, the seven seals, the trumpet judgments, and the bowl judgments are interpreted as literal future events, signifying immense cosmic upheaval and divine intervention. The beast here represents a future Antichrist figure poised to usher in a global era of tyranny and persecution against the faithful. The New Jerusalem descending from heaven marks the definitive inauguration of a new, eternal order where God's reign is undisputed. The idealist approach, meanwhile, offers a perspective that diverges from both preterist and futurist interpretations by viewing Revelation as a timeless allegory. Idealists believe the book does not focus on any specific historical events, past or future. Instead, it embodies perpetual truths about the ongoing struggle between good and evil. They argue that Revelation's symbols and visions are illustrative of the universal and eternal moral and spiritual battles waged within every age and every human soul. To an idealist, the beast might symbolize the perennial forces of darkness and oppression in any era, not confined to a specific regime or timeline. The triumphant Lamb and the New Jerusalem are seen as representations of ultimate divine victory and the hope that transcends temporal afflictions. This approach emphasizes the moral and ethical lessons drawn from Revelation, encouraging a reflective and spiritual engagement with the text. With these diverse approaches laid out, preterist, futurist, and idealist, we must now consider the scholarly debates that have animated and enriched these perspectives. Scholars have long wrestled with Revelation's complex symbolism and its implications for understanding eschatology, the theological study of the end times. Those in favor of the preterist view argue persuasively about the historical resonance and literary context of its imagery, often pointing to contemporary Roman historical accounts and early Christian writings to bolster their claims. Critics, however, suggest that such an interpretation may diminish the text's eschatological hopes and its relevance for future generations. Futurists are frequently challenged on the grounds that their interpretation can lead to sensationalism and speculative theology, often hinging on contemporary events to fit prophetic molds. Detractors argue that such readings risk missing the spiritual depth and ethical imperatives that lie at the heart of Revelation. Idealists, while praised for their timeless and pastoral applications of the text, face critiques for potentially rendering Revelation's prophecies too abstract, thus robbing the narrative of its historical and eschatological specificity. Ultimately, the quest for understanding Revelation is akin to deciphering a grand, celestial symphony. With each interpretive approach, we uncover different melodic lines, harmonies, and themes that contribute to a richer, fuller appreciation of its divine composition. As we navigate through these scholarly debates, may we be ever mindful that the true essence of Revelation, its call to steadfast faith, hope, and love, resounds through every perspective, inspiring us to look beyond what is seen toward the everlasting promises of the Almighty. End of narration. In considering the book of Revelation's apocalyptic vision, one finds a fascinating and intricate tapestry of symbols and prophecies that resonate far beyond Christianity, touching upon the eschatological themes of various world religions. This shared anticipation of an ultimate cosmic confrontation between good and evil underscores a universal human concern with the destiny of the world, the end of days, and the triumph of righteousness. Let us first delve into the apocalyptic vision of the Quran. Within Islamic eschatology, the Day of Judgment, known as Yawm al-Qiyamah, plays a pivotal role. The Quran speaks of a cataclysmic sequence of events that will herald the end of the world, involving the blowing of the trumpet by the angel Israfil. This will result in a resurrection of the dead, followed by a profound reckoning where every individual's deeds are weighed and judged by Allah. The righteous are rewarded with eternal paradise, while the wicked face eternal damnation. This vivid imagery parallels the scenes in Revelation, particularly those involving the Last Judgment, Revelation chapter 20 verses 11 to 15, where the dead are judged according to their deeds, and the ultimate separation of the righteous from the unrighteous occurs. Furthermore, the Quranic eschaton includes the appearance of figures such as the Mahdi and Isa, Jesus, who will lead the forces of good against the forces of evil, including the Dajjal, Antichrist figure. This mirrors the Revelation's portrayal of a climactic battle between Christ and the beast, and the final establishment of God's kingdom. Turning our gaze towards Zoroastrianism, we encounter an ancient religious tradition with a distinctly dualistic worldview. Zoroastrian eschatology also envisions a final battle between the forces of good, led by Ahura Mazda, and the forces of evil, led by Angra Mainyu. This culminates in the Frashokhareti, a period of renovation where the world is purified and restored to its ideal state. Humans will be judged by their deeds, and the righteous will partake in the renewal of creation. The Saoshyant, a messianic figure in Zoroastrianism, will play a crucial role in the defeat of evil and the resurrection of the dead. The imagery of a renewed and unblemished world, free from suffering and evil, resonates with Revelation's vision of a new heaven and a new earth, Revelation chapter 21 verses 1 to 4, where God himself will dwell among his people, wiping away every tear and abolishing death and pain. When comparing these eschatological frameworks, it becomes evident that they share a profound concern with the ultimate resolution of the cosmic struggle between good and evil, the judgment of humanity, and the establishment of an enduring divine order. Each tradition, while unique in its narrative and symbolism, reflects a deep-seated yearning for justice, redemption, and restoration, a testament to the universal human quest for meaning and hope in the face of life's uncertainties and adversities. In studying these religious texts, one cannot help but marvel at how different faith traditions approach the mysteries of the end times, each offering a distinct yet curiously harmonious vision of an ultimate reckoning and a new dawn. This comparative exploration not only enriches our understanding of Revelation but also provides a broader context through which we can appreciate the shared spiritual aspirations of humanity. Imagine, dear reader, the excitement of discovering an ancient scroll in the crumbling ruins of a long-forgotten city. Just as an archaeologist might brush away centuries of dust to uncover hidden inscriptions, we too can uncover profound insights from the archaeological findings in places like ancient Ephesus and Patmos. These findings, imbued with historical significance, illuminate the context of the Book of Revelation and help us to understand its place in the tapestry of human history. Ephesus, once a vibrant and bustling city, holds a mirror to the early Christian world. It was here that the faithful faced the towering grandeur of the Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Amidst such grandeur, early Christians gathered in humble homes, creating a stark contrast between the monumental and the modest. The evidence uncovered in Ephesus, including early Christian symbols carved into hidden stone alcoves and remnants of house churches, paints a vivid picture of a community steadfast in faith amid adversity. It was within this tension that Revelation's powerful visions resonated profoundly. Perhaps even more evocative is the island of Patmos, where John the Apostle is said to have received the visions that would become the Book of Revelation. The island, rugged and isolated, offers a stark and fitting backdrop for divine revelation. Recent excavations on Patmos have unearthed ancient monasteries and hermitages, lending credence to the tradition that this was indeed a place of profound spiritual encounters. One can almost hear the echoes of John's voice, proclaiming his visions to the harsh, windswept rocks and the indifferent sea. Findings from these locations do more than corroborate historical accounts. They breathe life into the text. They allow us to walk the same paths, touch the same stones, and perhaps see through the veil of time to the world as it was when John penned his extraordinary visions. This tangible connection to the past invites us to consider Revelation not as an abstract, otherworldly prophecy but as a document deeply rooted in the lived experience of the early Christians. Moreover, the dating of the Book of Revelation has often been debated among scholars. Discoveries in Ephesus and other key locations provide crucial clues. Inscriptions and documents dating back to the late 1st century, around 95 AD, the time traditionally ascribed to Revelation, support this timeframe. Coins bearing the likeness of Emperor Domitian, whose reign is associated with Christian persecution, further anchor the text in a specific historical moment. These findings create a compelling narrative that situates Revelation within the turbulence and trials of early Christian life. As we delve deeper into these archaeological discoveries, we see how they corroborate and enhance our understanding of the Book of Revelation. They remind us that this is not merely a collection of esoteric visions but a message of hope and endurance addressed to real people facing real challenges. The stones of Ephesus and Patmos echo with their stories, urging us to listen and reflect. Ultimately, the true value of archaeological discoveries lies not just in the artifacts themselves but in what they reveal about the human spirit. They connect us to a lineage of belief and perseverance, showing us that, like the early Christians, we too can navigate the complexities of our own times with faith and courage. As we uncover these ancient truths, let us carry them forward, cherishing the wisdom they offer and the light they bring to our path. In the academic realm, debates concerning the authorship and dating of the Book of Revelation are frequent and intense. These discussions often pivot on the nuanced interpretations of historical, textual, and archaeological evidence, each subtly shifting our understanding of this enigmatic text. The traditional view, held by many, posits that John the Apostle authored Revelation during his exile on the island of Patmos around 95 AD, under the reign of Emperor Domitian. This perspective aligns neatly with historical records and the early church's testimony, presenting a coherent narrative that accredits John as the solitary figure behind the vivid and often daunting visions that populate the book. Yet, as is often the case in scholarly pursuits, simplicity yields to complexity. A faction within academia advocates for a different author, perhaps another John, commonly referred to as John the Elder, who might have been based in Asia Minor. This conjecture arises from variations in writing style and theological emphasis when comparing Revelation to the Johannine epistles and the Gospel of John. Critics argue that these differences are substantial enough to suggest a distinct authorial voice. Another cornerstone of this debate is the precise dating of the text. While the Domitianic era is widely accepted, some scholars lean towards an earlier composition under the reign of Nero, around 68 AD. They cite internal clues within Revelation, such as the mention of the temple in Jerusalem, Revelation chapter 11 verses 1 to 2, which might indicate it was written before the temple's destruction in 70 AD. This Nero-centric theory is bolstered by interpreting the beast in Revelation chapter 13 verse 18, whose numerical value, 666, can be seen as a veiled reference to Nero's name when translated into Hebrew. Amidst these chronological and authorial debates, archaeological discoveries play a pivotal role in shaping and reshaping scholarly consensus. Excavations in locations such as ancient Ephesus, Herculaneum, and Patmos have yielded artifacts and inscriptions that offer tantalizing glimpses into the life and times surrounding Revelation's composition. For instance, findings on Patmos suggest it was indeed a place of banishment for political prisoners, corroborating the traditional exile narrative of John. However, not all archaeological evidence aligns seamlessly with the conventional timeline. Certain inscriptions and ruins suggest that Patmos hosted a significant Christian community and infrastructure at a time when John is supposed to have been isolated there, prompting questions about the island's role and status during the book's alleged creation period. These debates are not merely academic exercises but are rich with implications for how Revelation is interpreted in terms of both theology and eschatology. For instance, if Revelation were penned under Nero, its apocalyptic imagery might be seen through the lens of the immediate political turmoil and persecution of that era, potentially altering its perceived prophetic scope for future events. Conversely, a Domitian dating could suggest a broader, more enduring vision of the struggle between good and evil. In conclusion, while the Book of Revelation stands as a profound and mystical cornerstone of biblical literature, the debates over its authorship and dating underscore the multifaceted nature of scriptural interpretation. As archaeological discoveries continue to emerge and scholarship evolves, these discussions remain vital, ensuring that our engagement with Revelation is ever deepening, and our grasp of its mysteries ever more profound. My dear friends, let us journey together into the realm of Revelation and its mysterious prophecies. Throughout history, believers have witnessed the unfolding tapestry of human events and perceived in them echoes of John's apocalyptic visions. Wars, natural disasters, and myriad world events have been seen as testament to the truths penned in the Book of Revelation. This connection between ancient prophecy and contemporary events often serves as a source of both comfort and trepidation for many. Consider, for example, the tumultuous events of the world wars in the 20th century. To countless believers, these global conflicts were seen as clear indications of the wars prophesied in Revelation. The four horsemen, with their depiction of conquest, war, famine, and death, seemingly rode through the hearts and minds of those who lived through those dark times. The eerie alignment of these catastrophic events with biblical prophecies led many to deepen their faith, finding solace in the idea that these were foretold trials leading to a divine culmination. Furthermore, let us not forget the natural disasters that shake our world with relentless fury: earthquakes, famines, and pestilences. To the devout reader, these calamities often resonate with the vivid imagery found in the seals and trumpets of Revelation. When communities are devastated by such disasters, many turn to the scriptures for understanding and hope. The destructive yet transformative power of nature compels believers to seek meaning in the chaos, believing these events are part of a grand, divine narrative. However, it is essential to balance these theological interpretations with scientific perspectives, for both realms offer valuable insights into the nature of these occurrences. Science explains wars and natural disasters through political history, geological activity, climate change, and ecological imbalances. Wars often arise from complex socio-economic factors, while natural disasters stem from Earth's dynamic processes: tectonic shifts causing earthquakes, atmospheric conditions leading to storms, and various factors influencing climate patterns. Scholars and scientists remind us that while it is natural to seek patterns and meanings, we must also consider empirical evidence and the wealth of knowledge accumulated through systematic study. The dual approach of faith and reason allows us to appreciate the profound mysteries of Revelation while acknowledging the critical insights offered by science. This harmony between belief and knowledge encourages us to marvel at the intricacies of both divine will and natural law. Believers find themselves continually navigating the intersections of faith and empirical understanding. The events that unfold before us, whether cataclysmic or miraculous, are not merely to be feared but are opportunities to deepen faith, foster resilience, and cultivate a sense of purpose in the grand story of existence. Our task, then, is not to succumb to fear but to rise with hope, much like the phoenix from the ashes. The Book of Revelation, with all its awe-inspiring prophecies, calls us to look beyond immediate trials and tribulations. It beckons us to keep faith in divine providence, even as we engage with the world's tangible realities. Thus, we approach each day with a heart inspired by faith and a mind enlightened by understanding, ever prepared for the ultimate fulfillment of the spiritual promises woven into our sacred texts. Imagine for a moment, dear reader, a tapestry woven with threads of gold and crimson, each thread representing a passage of time, a stitch in the grand narrative of faith. This tapestry is the Book of Revelation, holding within its complex weave the prophecies and visions that have stirred hearts and minds for centuries. To some, it is a terrifying vision of things to come. To others, it is a beacon of hope, an affirmation of divine justice prevailing over evil. What truly matters, however, is how this ancient, sacred text impacts the faith and daily practices of modern believers. Consider, for example, a devout woman named Sarah. She reads Revelation not as a cryptic puzzle but as a divine promise. The four horsemen, the beast, the New Jerusalem, all these are not mere symbols to her but markers on a spiritual journey that gives her a sense of purpose and direction. For Sarah, these elements are living truths, reminding her daily of the world's transient nature and the eternal nature of the soul. Every morning, Sarah begins her day with a prayer inspired by Revelation chapter 21 verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. This prayer fills her with hope and fortitude, empowering her to face the day's challenges with a serene heart. It is as if each word is a thread reinforcing the fabric of her faith, strengthening her to see beyond the temporal to the eternal promises. Then there is Mark, a young man who found himself adrift in the materialism and superficiality of modern life. The apocalyptic imagery of Revelation served as a wake-up call, shaking him from complacency. The trumpets, the scrolls, the final battle between good and evil. These grand, cosmic events moved Mark to rekindle his faith and reorient his life's mission. No longer content with merely existing, Mark strives to live meaningfully, applying the lessons of Revelation in his quest for personal and communal betterment. Mark takes to heart the call for perseverance and vigilance found in Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. Since you have kept my command to endure patiently, I will also keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come upon the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth. He channels this into volunteer work, helping the less fortunate, and speaking about the eternal victory of good over evil, hoping to inspire others to see beyond their immediate struggles. Let us delve deeper into another story, that of a small, tight-knit congregation in a rural town. Here, the Book of Revelation is not just scripture but a lens through which they view the world. The congregation sees signs of the prophecies fulfilling in the natural disasters, political upheaval, and global turmoil that mark modern times. This perspective fosters a certain urgency in their worship and fellowship. Their anticipation of the second coming is not of dread but of hope and preparedness. Their gatherings are marked by joyful anticipation, songs, and prayers that celebrate Revelation's promise of a new heaven and a new earth. They find solace in passages like Revelation chapter 22 verse 12, "Behold, I am coming soon. My reward is with me, and I will give to each person according to what they have done." This scriptural assurance fuels their faith, infusing their lives with a sense of meaning and mission, reinforcing their commitment to live in a manner pleasing to their Creator. one cannot overlook the impact of Revelation on contemporary Christian art and literature. Artists and writers draw upon its vivid imagery to explore themes of divine justice, redemption, and the holiness of creation. In contemplating these artistic works, believers find their imaginations stirred and their faith deepened. They might gaze upon a painting of the New Jerusalem and be reminded of the ultimate purity and peace that awaits the faithful, or read a novel inspired by Revelation and find within its pages an echo of their own spiritual yearnings. In sum, the book of Revelation resonates deeply within the hearts of believers, both as a harbinger of promise and a call to vigilance. It shapes their prayers, their community life, their sense of mission, and even their art, a testament to its enduring power to inspire and guide. Thus, as we draw these threads of testimony together, let us remember that Revelation is not a relic of the past but a living text that continues to weave through the fabric of believers' lives, binding them to a higher narrative of hope and divine fulfillment. Let us take courage and inspiration from its pages, seeing in its complex symbols and visions the simpler truth of a faith that endures and triumphs. Cultural representations of the Book of Revelation, my dear reader, are as diverse as the visions within its pages. Imagine, if you will, the medieval tapestries that hang heavy and dense with symbolism, each thread meticulously woven to tell stories of celestial battles and divine triumphs. These ancient works of art capture the imagination, presenting Revelation's apocalyptic visions with a gravitas that is almost palpable. In the hallowed halls of cathedrals, stained glass windows glow with scenes from the Book of Revelation. The faithful, gazing upon these luminescent images, are transported to realms where the four horsemen gallop across the heavens, where the woman clothed with the sun stands radiant and defiant against the onslaught of the draconic beast. Such representations serve not only as a testament to the artistic skill of their creators but also as a means of instruction and reflection for all who behold them. Turn now from the medieval to the modern, where the Book of Revelation continues to inspire. Consider the realm of literature, where authors weave the apocalypse into narratives that both haunt and enthrall. Works of fiction draw upon its themes of judgment, redemption, and the ultimate triumph of good, creating stories that resonate deeply within our collective psyche. Whether subtle whispers of Revelation's influence or overt retellings, these narratives remind us of the enduring power of its imagery. The silver screen, too, has not escaped the allure of Revelation's dramatic visions. Films ranging from epic blockbusters to indie gems portray the end of days with varying degrees of reverence and creativity. They bring to life the chaos and hope, the despair and the promise, giving audiences visual feasts that mirror the intensity of John's prophecy. These cinematic interpretations highlight the malleability of Revelation's themes, allowing each generation to draw its own meaning from the ancient text. And what of modern art? Here, Revelation finds new life in the abstract and the avant-garde. Contemporary artists, unfettered by traditional constraints, explore its symbols in bold and unconventional ways. Their works often challenge, provoke, and invite contemplation, much as the original text does. Through their vision, Revelation's messages are not just preserved but reimagined, resonating with present-day issues and sensibilities. The influence of Revelation on popular culture cannot be understated. Its themes infiltrate music, from the somber chants of Gregorian choirs to the raw power of modern rock anthems. Lyrics and melodies echo the eternal struggle between light and darkness, salvation and damnation, weaving a continuous thread through the auditory experiences of generations. Revelation's impact also manifests in more subtle yet profound ways, in the language of our discourse, in the metaphors we employ, in the very fabric of our cultural unconscious. Phrases such as Armageddon and apocalypse have transcended their origins, becoming shorthand for ultimate conflict and cataclysmic change, deeply embedded in the lexicon of our times. Thus, through the myriad lenses of art, literature, film, and beyond, the Book of Revelation remains a potent force, continuously interpreted and reinterpreted. It speaks to the timeless human condition, our fears, hopes, and the eternal longing for redemption. And in each representation, no matter the form, we are invited to peer once more into the depths of its profound mysteries and find therein reflections of our greatest aspirations and deepest anxieties. So, dear reader, as you encounter the varied portrayals of Revelation in our culture, remember that each is but a facet of a multi-dimensional jewel, endlessly reflecting the light of divine inspiration. Let these representations not merely entertain but also provoke thought, challenge understanding, and deepen faith. This, then, is the enduring legacy of Revelation, a journey that transcends time, moving through our history, our culture, and our hearts, ever inviting us to engage with its eternal truths. As we draw this study of the Book of Revelation to a close, let us journey back through the key themes, historical context, and interpretations that we have uncovered together. Once seen as daunting and enigmatic, Revelation now unfurls its layers to reveal a profound tapestry of prophecy, hope, and divine promise. We began our exploration by delving into the central themes of Revelation, such as the ultimate triumph of good over evil, the promise of the Second Coming, and the majestic visions of the New Jerusalem. These themes are not merely apocalyptic warnings but are essential truths that underscore the faith and hope carried by millions of believers throughout the centuries. Understanding the historical context in which Revelation was written has been vital. Penned during the oppressive reign of Emperor Domitian around 95 AD, Revelation mirrors the trials and enduring hope of early Christians facing persecution. Recognizing these historical underpinnings allows us to appreciate the text not just as a divine revelation but also as a resilient beacon to those early followers of Christ. We've navigated the various interpretations that theologians and scholars have proposed over the ages. From Augustine and Luther to contemporary voices such as N.T. Wright, each offers a lens through which to view Revelation's complex symbology and eschatology. Our journey touched on approaches ranging from premillennial to preterist, each bringing forth new insights and understandings. Reflecting on Revelation's impact on personal faith and communal religious practice, it is clear that this sacred text continues to resonate deeply within the hearts of the faithful. It shapes prayers, inspires worship, and cultivates a shared hope that transcends generations, calling us all to live with an eternal perspective. As we encourage you to continue this journey of discovery and reflection, we invite you to engage further with this study. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Your insights and questions are the lifeblood of this community, and we eagerly anticipate your contribution. Lastly, we value your feedback and suggestions for future topics to explore. What areas of scripture, theology, or history piques your interest? Let us know, and we will endeavor to embark together on new voyages of discovery and faith. Thank you for joining us in this contemplation of the Book of Revelation. May the insights gained enrich your spiritual journey and deepen your understanding of this extraordinary biblical text. Dear God, we approach you with open hearts and minds, seeking your wisdom and understanding as we delve into the mysteries of the Book of Revelation. Grant us clarity and insight to comprehend the deeper meanings behind these sacred texts. May the visions and prophecies not instill fear but rather fill us with hope and anticipation. For your triumphant return, help us apply the lessons learned. To grow in faith and love, and to support one another as we await your divine fulfillment. Guide us in our daily walks, that we may reflect your light in this world. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Following this structure will help to navigate the complex and richly symbolic material in the book of Revelation while engaging your audience with thought-provoking content and spiritual reflections.